Welcome back now. High levels of poverty, unemployment and a lack of good municipal governance continues to hamper the progress made by the North West province over the years. Now, the highest national unemployment rate standing at 52.2%, the North West has been labelled as a province with more people unemployed than working. Now, presenting the State of the Province address for 2024 last month, the Acting Premier of the North West Province, Nono Maloyi, said that the province is one of only three that actually recorded the largest employment increases in the third quarter of 2023, creating over 61,000 jobs. He also noted that although there is progress, it is not significant enough to reverse the extent of the governance collapse in the municipal administrations. Now, to talk to us more about this, we're joined here in studio by for that North West SOPA by the Acting Premier Nono Maloyi. Thanks so much for coming through. Welcome to Morning Live.
No, good morning and good morning to your viewers.
Mr. Maloyi, let's just start at the beginning, the unemployment issue, because that is a huge one. You know, when you have more people unemployed than employed in a province, it obviously is a crisis.
Now, we have now received officially a report from Stats SA that indicates what is the situation in the entire country. Now, unemployment rate in the Northwest is 38%, not 52. And then you have what is called the expanded unemployment, which is at 43%. And I must indicate that this is quite worrying because we are not supposed to be there. We are not supposed to be there because you will agree with me that Northwest is supposed to be one of the richest provinces in the country because of the mineral resources that we have. The majority of your mines in the country are in an area called Bojanala region in Rustenburg. And the unfortunate thing is that the majority of people who are employed in those mines are not necessarily from the Northwest province. I had a session with the CEO of Impala Mines 2 weeks ago, and I was asking these questions. What is it that you are doing to assist government to attend to this unemployment rate, which is very high and is stubbornly high? And he was indicating to me that they have 42,000 employees, and less than 40% of those employees come from the Northwest. And I was saying, this is not a fair share. We need to change the situation. I'm now in engagements with other mining houses in the province, including other companies in the province, to say to them, government cannot attend to these challenges alone. We need to forge a partnership. We must work together to attend to all the challenges that we have in the province. And I'm quite happy. A lot of them are now coming on board. Just this Saturday, I had another session with Amava, which is also a mining company, which gave me a lot of suggestions as to what is it that need to happen and so on. So very soon, we are going to establish the Premier's Advisory Council. And I said to them, I would want you to come and present to the Advisory Council in order for us to change the situation in the Northwest. We are getting there slowly, but I've said we need to increase the speed because once people are unemployed, they have nothing to do and so on. This is where you are going to see people being on the street, burning tires and so on, and we can't afford that situation.
And that has just about become commonplace in the Northwest province. People at will expressing their dissatisfaction with matters of service delivery, with matters of poor governance, which they express. And there are many examples to that extent. But I quickly want to touch on investment in the province, because I think you had mentioned about the investment conference that took place during the BRICS summit, as well as one that you had for the province. And what has happened to those pledges?
We are moving with the necessary speed. At Sun City, we had over 150 billion pledges. And what I've said to the officials in government is that we can't just be having pledges. Let's actualize this thing. And I had a session with all of them to say, we are now going to move with speed, interact with all these investors in order for them to invest as they've promised that they are going to do. What we are now going to do, we had a session with the Chinese National Import and Export Corporation, who are going to invest on energy. They are putting a huge plant at a cost of plus minus 16 billion in Matlosana, which is gas to power. So we have started those processes. Their entire team will be in the Northwest next week. I'm hoping that before the end of April this year, we will be turning a sod in Matlosana. And the second phase of that project will be in Moses Kotane. So they are on board. The other problem that we have, other investors have invested about 54 billion in our SEZ. The unfortunate thing is that the state of our SEZ was not good. I then had a session with DBSA, with DTI, who have a program called the revitalization program. So we are busy fixing all the challenges that we had in that SEZ. Once we have done that, we have now put security and so on, and investors will be going into that space. So we are quite excited that all those who have pledged, they are now on board. Others are phoning me almost every day. They are saying to me, Premier, we had this session last year already, and we have money, we are going to lose this money, and we want to invest in your province. Can you speed up the process? And that is why I'm spending sleepless nights, meeting with everybody and ensuring that we comply with all the regulations that we have in the country in order to ensure that this investment, they do come. But I'm quite excited that the project that I just spoke about, the gas to power, is going to create over 20,000 jobs in the Northwest. And it's a BOTT, build, operate, train, and transfer, which means after 20 years, they will then hand over that project to us, and then NWDC will take care of it.
So people from the Northwest Province watching you, listening to you right now, speak to them in no uncertain terms, in terms of what you're saying. When you say the special economic zone, that's what the SEZ is. So the special economic zone, where is the special economic zone, and what exactly were the problems? Why was it not ready?
It is in Bojanala, in Moses Kotane, in your Mokwase area. Like I'm saying, DBSA, DTI were on board, assisting the province to ensure that all our industrial parks, including the SEZ, are revitalized. Unfortunately, there was vandalism that took place there. High mast lights were vandalized, the fence was vandalized, office buildings were vandalized, everything was vandalized. And that is why DBSA was saying, you know, if we don't fix this problem, we'll have no option as well but to pull out. And we had to intervene. So you had those challenges. And these are the challenges that we are now attending to. I said to the MEC responsible for economic development, including the CEO of NWDC, that in this one, I'm not going to compromise. I want you as the CEO to ensure that on a weekly basis, you monitor that this thing is not going to happen again, because I can't tolerate this situation. And I'm quite excited. The reports that I'm getting from the MEC is that almost every week the CEO is there attending to all those challenges. Now it is going to work, I can assure you, without fail, for as long as I'm in office.
So the question is, why was it allowed to be vandalized to that extent? Because these things don't just happen overnight. You know, people first start by taking something, and then they see that there's no repercussions, and they take more and more until, you know, they leave a shell of a structure. But also, is it only that, or were there service delivery related issues as well?
The other problem, other people who I'm told were part of this acts of sabotage, it's security companies which were employed today. Because I'm told that at some point they were not paid and so on, and they decided to protest, and they became part of the people who were vandalizing in that area. But you know, the unfortunate situation is that not only in the Northwest, but I think in other parts of the country you also have this situation. Some people are simply sleeping on duty because this thing was not supposed to happen in the first place. Because security was supposed to be there 24 hours all these state properties were supposed to be taken care of and so on. So it means somebody did not do his job. And that is why there must be consequence management. But these are the things that we are attending to. We are trying to change the culture within the employees in government in the Northwest. Because I always say to them, you come to work at 8 o'clock, you knock off at 8:30. What you need to do when you arrive at home, you must just assess, what is it that I've done for the past 8 hours when I was at work? Did I do something productive or I didn't do anything? Was I just sitting on the computer playing cards and so on? So I said to them, you need to change the manner in which you do things, because all of us, we are representing the public. We are public representatives. We have employed you to ensure that you implement policies that we pronounce. Now, if you just sit there, you don't implement and so on, it is going to give a picture as if public representatives are not doing their work. So I want you to come on board. I want you to be part of this journey. All of us, let's complete this exercise, because it is not only about us. It is about the people of South Africa, and it is about the people of the Northwest. And you have a responsibility as a South African citizen to ensure that we deliver quality services to our people and we do what we are employed for.
And this is part of the problem, because you said it during the State of the Nation address, and you said it again at least twice, State of the Province, address, and at least twice this morning about having sleepless nights, because you're never going to sleep, because there's just so much going wrong in the Northwest Province. You speak of the public representatives who have to do their jobs. The story of the former Chief Financial Officer of the Department of Economic Development. That one, which the Minister of Home Affairs has called a public embarrassment. How did that happen?
Indeed, is a public embarrassment. Is the CFO of NWDC, not Department of Economic Development. It is, of course, a public embarrassment. It's a public embarrassment because, like I said earlier on, it means somebody was sleeping on duty from all of us, both at the provincial level and at the national level. And I spoke to the minister at length about it. And both of us, we have agreed that there must be consequence management. We can't allow this situation to persist. And I've said to the MEC, because people who are responsible to employ people in the NWDC and so on is the board. I said the board must account as to what happened. And I'm happy that the MEC have already written a letter to the board to say to them, can you explain what happened? Why did you sleep on duty and so on? And there must be consequence management. Before the end of next week, we are going to attend to this issue. I can tell you now, those who are responsible, unfortunately, they don't belong to the government of the Northwest Province.
So what does consequence management look like? Because we always hear this, and that's usually the end of it. We hear there will be consequence management, but nothing ultimately happens. Just in terms of right now, what are the issues in terms of this person's appointment, them having made decisions, one would imagine far-reaching decisions as someone in that position as a chief financial officer? What becomes of all of that?
People must take responsibility for their actions. That's consequence management. And I will not tell you now, Sakina, unfortunately. Call me next week, I'll tell you what is it that we have done. We are in the process. And I wouldn't want to jeopardize what we are doing now by pronouncing publicly before we can complete what we are doing.
All right, we'll give you that space. I certainly will call you. and I promise that you will take my call at the point where I do call you, Mr. Maloyi, because I think it's important, because the public then loses confidence and says, you know, what else has gone wrong? How many of these situations then potentially exist in the broader public sphere in the Northwest Province?
There might be many. Like I'm saying that we are now there. We are attending to these issues as the Northwest Provincial Government, and we are going to act, and we are going to act decisively against all the perpetrators. It might be taking time, because there are laws that we need to follow in this country. You don't just get into an office, kick the door, and tell somebody to leave. You need to do proper investigation and so on, that is internally. But at the same time, you need to refer some of these issues to law enforcement agencies, and you must also give them time and space to be able to complete their work. But we are getting things right. North West is getting there. North West is going to be one of the best provinces in the country, I can tell you now.
How long, though? Because I think the people are impatient. As you yourself pointed out earlier, when you see these the protests, service delivery protests and others, people are impatient. They've been waiting for a long time.
Very soon. And Sakina, you know, service delivery protests in the Northwest have been reduced dramatically in the Northwest. They are not like what they were 2 years ago. They've decreased dramatically. The South African police services have confirmed, and everybody have confirmed that service delivery protests have decreased. And they've decreased because of the work that we are doing. We have launched a program called Tunzale Role Bekelebeki. Every Friday, all members of the Executive Council, we are closing offices, we are going to communities. Today we are in Matlosane. As I speak to you, members of the Executive Council are there to attend to challenges of service delivery, to listen to our people in those areas. What are your challenges? What are the issues? And we attend to them like immediately and without fail. And I know that in some instances, when we leave a municipality, they just decide to sit and not proceed with the program, which I've said to them, this situation needs to change. By the way, we have visited all the 18 municipalities. We are now on the third phase of Tunzale Role. We started last week in Rustenburg. Today we are in Matlosana. We are checking as to whether what we said must happen, is it happening? If it is not happening, who is not doing the work in order for us to act and to act decisively against those individuals. Now, our people in those areas are quite excited and quite happy, because the other thing which was there was social distancing. Because once we have visited an area, we have attended to issues, we convene community meetings in the afternoon and we talk to our people. Our people are quite excited that government is here with us, government is listening to us, government is interacting with us and so on. So there is no need for us to be on the streets. But indeed, there are still pockets of protests in other areas and so on, and we can't say they are not justified. In some instances, those protests are justified because some of us, we are failing to do simple things. Just to patch a pothole, a simple thing, we are failing to do it. Just to ensure that if there is water leakage, we deal with that situation. Where there are sewer spillages, we deal with those situations. Some of us are not doing those simple things. And the people are justified to be protesting when things like that are happening. But we are on the ground, we are attending to this situation, and things are going to improve.
How many of your municipalities are still under administration?
There is no municipality that is under administration. Ditsobotla is under Section 1395, which means we are trying to stabilize it financially and so on. By the way, 12 of our municipalities were dysfunctional previously. And we intervened, we reduced those municipalities to 9. We have sent teams in all the municipalities. We have now reduced them to 3. Only 3 are dysfunctional. But it's not something to write home about, because out of the 24 municipalities, 23 of them are still at risk. We have moved from dysfunctional, they are now at risk. Only 1 is functional or is stable, which is Yokahisa no Molopo. And I've said to my team that I want all these municipalities to be stable, not to be at risk. Because once they are at risk, it means they can go either to dysfunctional or to stable. But we are attending to these matters, and I'm quite excited with the work that we are doing. We have also completed, or we are about to complete, the skills audit. The skills audit, including the qualifications audit. We are left now with 4 municipalities. So we are attending to the situation, and I'm quite excited that at least there is some level of stability in almost all our municipalities.
So as of June the 9th last year, there were reports that 8 of your 24 municipalities, which makes it a third of those municipalities, were under administration. You say all of that has been resolved?
Only 3 now. Only 3 municipalities, as I speak to you, are now dysfunctional. From 12 to 3. And by the time we leave this office, I said by the time we leave office, all these municipalities must be out of this thing called dysfunctional. And we are working on it.
So dysfunctional under administration, because we seem to be talking a lot of semantics here this morning. I say one thing, you say another thing, yet we're talking about the same thing.
No, let's go. Let me talk about under administration, because
yes.
This is what you want. I said when I started, and that's why I always make reference to dysfunctional, because there is no municipality which is under Section 139B.
Okay, so under Section 139B. A.
In the Northwest.
What are they under?
The Tsobotla municipality is under 1395, subsection 5. Which means we are now there to ensure that we attend to their issues of revenue and so on. So this is where we are. The team from Treasury is there, we are assisting them to stabilize that municipality. The other municipality, which is now under Section 139A, and 139A, it's not necessarily that it's directives. We have said to them, we are not happy with the manner in which you are doing things. We want you to attend to the following areas. It's about 8 of them. We said we need you to attend to the following areas, failing which we'll have to act, and we'll have to act decisively. And that municipality happens to be Taung municipality, which is under Section 139A. So there is no municipality that is because normally I know when you talk about administration, you normally talk about Section 139B, where you have administrators and so on deployed in those municipalities and so on. We don't have that situation any longer.
So Majabeng, as we run out of time, what is the latest update from what's happening in that municipality?
Unfortunately, Machabeng is not in the Northwest. And I will not be able to give you details of what is happening in Machabeng. And I suppose that the Premier, I think Machabeng is in the Free State. I think the Premier of that province and the emissary responsible will be able to tell you what's happening in Machabeng.
I'm so sorry. I thought I was speaking to, Madibeng. Sorry, Madibeng, not Machabeng, Madibeng.
Madibeng, as we speak, they've now appointed directors because they did not have directors. Because we insisted that Section 56, 57 directors must be appointed. They've now appointed. They are in the process of advertising for the municipal manager. Unfortunately, what stopped them from doing this work as quickly as we would have wanted them to do, it is because the previous incumbent has taken the municipality to court. So we need to resolve the court processes. I have spoken to her. And I said, we can't live like this. We need to resolve this matter, and we need to have an out-of-court settlement. So we are talking to her. I've referred her to the mayor to go and talk to the mayor in order to resolve whatever issues were there. Because we can't have a municipality without an accounting officer.
So according to you, what you've been appraised of, what is the issue, and why are you recommending a settlement?
No, the issue is that the incumbent is insisting that she was the best candidate. She's the candidate who was supposed to be appointed. And the municipality decided not to proceed with that appointment, but to re-advertise the post. And then she went to court on those bases. So those are the discussions that we are having with her.
And what did the municipality say to you? Was that in fact the case? And why didn't they proceed if it was?
No, they did indicate to me that after the interviews and so on, they came to a conclusion that the process was flawed. They did not follow certain processes, which they felt that they need to follow those processes. But these are the issues that we are still discussing, because I don't have a written report from them. This is my discussion with the mayor, when I was asking him as to what happened here. Before I can go and talk to this person who took us to court and so on, I need to have the facts and so on. Those are the facts that he gave me. But I also spoke to her. She gave me her own side of the story as to what transpired. But I said, we can't go on like this. We need an accounting officer in that institution. We need an MM in that institution, and we are getting there.
So I'm going to call you on this Madibeng matter as well, and we'll follow up next week.
Call me after two weeks on that one.
Okay, next week and the following week.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk. But thank you so much for your time this morning. North West Province's Acting Premier, Mr. Nono Maloyi, talking to us about the issues that came out of the recent State of the Province address and, of course, the provincial budget.